The Heston Aircraft Company was formed in 1934, taking over the assets of the Comper Aircraft Company, which had run out of money. Designer Nicholas Comper resigned, and a new designer, George Cornwall, was recruited from Saunders Row. Cornwall designed a new aircraft for the company, a high-performance 5-seat machine suitable for business and touring. Named the Heston Phoenix, this thoroughly modern-looking design was largely built from plywood and spruce. The high wing was braced with streamlined metal end struts and contained the fuel tanks. No high-lift devices or flaps were fitted. The aircraft was powered by a 200 horsepower 6-cylinder de Havilland Gypsy 6 engine and fitted with a fixed-pitch propeller. The prototype first flew on the 18th of August 1935, piloted by Edmund Horden, the company's chief test pilot. The following month it was dispatched to RAF Martlesham Heath for certification trials. Unusually, the test pilots could find very little to fault, and the Heston Phoenix was awarded a full certificate of airworthiness on the 1st of October 1935. Probably the most unusual feature of the aircraft was the retractable undercarriage. This was manufactured by Doughty Aero Components and cleverly housed in a stub wing. With a wide track, simple geometry, and a hand pump for operation, the retractable undercarriage proved to be thoroughly reliable. The only failures noted were human, but thankfully damage was usually minimal. Testing complete, the aircraft was painted in an attractive colour scheme and upholstered inside to a high standard. It was demonstrated to potential customers and the aviation press. Reviews were generally positive. Of particular note was the lack of noise in the cabin, said to be just as quiet as a normal enclosed motor car. This first aircraft was used by the Heston Aircraft Company as their demonstrator until the summer of 1936. It was sold to a group captain in the Royal Hellenic Air Force and ferried to Athens. It was destroyed during the occupation of Greece in 1941. In 1934, 21-year-old Jimmy Melrose of Adelaide, Australia, broke the Australia to England solo record in a de Havilland Puss Moth in 8 days and 9 hours. He had flown to England to take part in the McRobertson Air Race from England to Australia. Jimmy was the youngest entrant, the only Australian, and the only solo pilot to finish, being placed 6th overall and 2nd on handicap. In March 1936, he bought the second Heston Phoenix, primarily for charter and air taxi work in southern Australia. The original plan had been to ship the aircraft by sea, but Jimmy decided to fly it back to Australia, taking 15 days in April 1936. Jimmy immediately put the aircraft to work, but on an early flight had a heavy landing at Kangaroo Island. His passenger reported a large cracking sound from the cabin roof, but Jimmy discounted the possible damage. 5 weeks later, Jimmy Melrose took off from Melbourne, bound for Darwin with one passenger. Shortly after departure, the aircraft broke up. A third Phoenix flew in the summer of 1936. It was used by the manufacturer for demonstration and charter work, sold to British American Air Services in the summer of 1939, and then impressed by National Air Communications at the outbreak of war. It overran the runway at Speke Aerodrome in 1940 and was written off. One criticism of the Heston Phoenix was the poor rate of climb. It was certainly a large aircraft for one 200 horsepower engine and a fixed-pitch propeller. The fourth aircraft onwards had a 205 horsepower Series 2 Gypsy 6 and a controllable pitch de Havilland air screw. Performance was certainly improved, and the fourth aircraft, seen here, was completed in the summer of 1937. It was leased to the Royal Air Force until the summer of 1939. It was used to teach pilots the operation of controllable pitch propellers, which were then replacing the fixed-pitch propellers in use on frontline fighters until that time. The fifth Heston Phoenix was sold to the Standard Telephones and Cables Company of London in the summer of 1937. It was used as a flying laboratory to test and demonstrate the latest wireless navigation and communication equipment. In spite of its undoubted virtues, the Heston Phoenix was not selling well. It couldn't compete in performance with the similarly priced de Havilland Dragonfly, and it couldn't compete on price with the American single-engine machines that were being imported at that time. The sixth and last Heston Phoenix was completed in the summer of 1937, but remained unsold until the summer of 1939. Plans to build an uprated version, the Heston Griffin, with a Wolseley Scorpio 250 horsepower 9-cylinder engine, were shelved. At the outbreak of the Second World War, all three Mark II Heston Phoenix aircraft were impressed into service with the RAF for communications duties. By 1945, only one survived. The following year, it was purchased by its manufacturer and refurbished. In 1950, it was sold to Arthur Pilgrim and based at Elstree. Pilgrim obviously had a very good taste in airplanes. He'd previously owned this Aeronca 100. For the next 2 years, the aircraft was used for air taxi work in the United Kingdom and Europe, but on the 16th of May 1952, it force-landed in the Ardèche, a mountainous region in the southeast of France. The occupants all walked down the mountain to safety, but the aircraft was not recovered. Thank you for watching.